Well, welcome to Extra Point on Southwestern Montana News, brought to you by 82 Coffee Company, Susan McCrae Accounting, and Amsbury Glass. And in the studio today, we're out of season a little bit, but kind of in season. We have Montana Western head football coach Ryan Nourse, and welcome to Extra Point.
Thanks for having me back.
Well, I got to thank you too, braving Mother Nature.
Absolutely.
The fourth big snowstorm we've had in 5 days, and we were talking before we went on. We don't like it. We don't like shoveling, but we realize the necessity of having it.
Yeah, but it's just part of living out in Montana.
Yes. Yeah. Well, where you come from.
Way more snow.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Anyway, so this past week was the National Signing Day for college football across the land. You announced your 2024 recruiting class. Before we get into specifics on the class, and I know we talked about this during the football season, but how about just a skinny on your recruiting procedure? You know, from identifying to to visiting or.
Sure. Yeah, it's much easier now than it was in the past, just in terms of drumming up prospective student athletes. Where in the past you traveled everywhere, you waited for the mail to come in. You hoped the coach would send you in the flyer that you sent out to them, and you get when I started this, you were calling on the rotary dial. If you had a push button phone, you were uppity. So it's changed quite a bit. But our process is we start in Montana. We try to ID the best football players in the state of Montana, and guys who can really play college football. And then when we move out of state, we move to connections. Where are places we have some form of connectivity out there, and then post that, it's basically using all the resources that we have available to us, whether it's references, whether it's student athletes emailing us, hitting us up on social media, whether we see these players at camps or playing basketball, whatever it might be, we use all those resources and then create a very extensive database. You need a lot of players to just find one. So today we met about quarterbacks, and we need 100 offerable quarterbacks to get one. So there's a lot out there, and we don't necessarily offer the things that a lot of guys who play that position really want. So it's a little bit more of a challenge for us to go out and find those kind of guys. And it's not that way at every position, but that's the one position it is, and the most important position in football. So then after that is contacting and building relationships and finding the right fit and seeing what guys are going to be, truly and honestly interested in Western, what guys that we're going to find some commonalities with, and then move forward.
Well, and academically, Western offers something that a lot of schools don't, and that's the block scheduling format. Does that aided in you maybe getting someone who's deciding between you and College A and College C over there, and they chose Western?
Not as much as you'd think, but it does. It certainly helps us out in the initial process, the uniqueness of the block scheduling and that. And the guys we do get to come here are 100%ers. They're guys who are bought in, and they see block scheduling as what's going to help them, be successful in their collegiate career and put them in the best preparedness for their next journey when they're done.
Okay, so moving on to your classes, 24 high school kids and 3 transfers in. Is my math right on that?
Yeah, I think that's about right. Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at your transfers first. You brought another Dylan Beaver home to play in front of the hometown.
Yes, we're very happy to have Jace Fitzgerald here on our football team, and just a great player, great leader, great human being, and will bring a lot to our team just in terms of character and outside of his ability to play the game.
And he, fits into, I always termed Western's linebacker as linebacker U. Mike Miller and I were talking the other day about A.J. Wilson, in the mold of linebacker U and stuff like that. And Jace kind of fits into that category.
Yeah.
You lose Cameron Rouser, which was an exceptional linebacker. And so that must be a nice feeling as a coach to have someone, you lose someone like that, but then you have someone step right in.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really what it's about. We feel like our program is built to last here, so it's just the finding the right fit guys and putting them into the positions that they're going to be successful at, and we feel like Jace can be one of those guys.
Well, and then your other two transfers up front, you have an offensive lineman, and then you have a defensive back. So, were they in college somewhere else and maybe not playing football, or just decided they wanted to play football?
Tyrus was on a LDS mission and came back, and then Caden had been out for a year, Wilcox. So we're excited to have both of them. We knew both of those young men for a bit of time here, and both will be competitive in our program.
Well, and you have a nice blend of talent from around the area. You were talking about when you get outside the state, and that network that you've established. And it's probably a network made of maybe guys you coached with, guys you played with, or kids that are now coaches on their own.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, and a lot of it is just places that we've had guys either on our team or come here and play before. So, you don't have to get a guy from every school every year to maintain connectivity. We got two guys from Washougal this year. We have a current player from Washougal. We know we'll do well in Richland next year because we have several Richland guys on our roster currently. So it kind of works that way.
Well, I know, and you brought in another Hawaiian in. That Hawaiian connection's been pretty good for the Bulldogs for over close to 25 years, I guess.
Yes, we do very well in Kahuku and some other areas there over in Hawaii, and we'll continue to maintain that relationships with those players and coaches.
Well, I'm thinking. You talked about you do less traveling in past years. I'm thinking if I was one of your assistant coaches, that would be the one traveling assignment I would like to go to.
We do go there. So, but yeah, that plane flight really isn't as extensive as the driving.
Yes. Well, let's talk. Let's go first offensively. How about a skinny on your new? Let's go offensive recruits first.
Yeah, O-line was, every year our main focus is speed and trenches, and we feel like we got three fantastic offensive linemen, probably when we look at the class, and that really highlighted by Jose Alvarez out of Washougal. Jose is an incredible wrestler. He's 6'3" and 275 pounds. It looks like he's about 225 pounds. This is a fantastic athlete with great grades, great footwork, and really, he really does a lot of things really, really well. Really pleased with the quarterback position. We got the 2A player of the year out of Wyoming, state champion, multiple year all conference, Bryce Hager out of Torrington. And the best thing about Bryce, he really kind of fits our mold of quarterback, is that he plays every single play of the game. He plays every snap at D end, every snap at quarterback. He's on almost all the special teams, and then he goes home and feeds the cows. He's salt of the earth kind of guy, and has got an incredible upside to him. Wide receiver, gosh, we got a lot of good wide receivers. Those guys are all really talented. A couple of bigger guys in there with Tristan Olsen and Colter Ramos, and then some real speed guys with Fareed Lawal and Mateus Senna, both out of Washington. And love our tight ends. We got three tight end, DN kind of guys that are just outstanding. Eli Thornus and Jasper Robinson and Braden Casaz. These are all big, long, tall, physical guys, great athletes, and they're going to find a home somewhere, and pleased with the running back spot too. Aiden Lammers is a really big physical running back who has carried the load. Led the state of Montana again this year in rushing, and is we were looking to get a hammer this year, and we think Aiden, well, he fits the description how he runs. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk defense. And then we're going to see what kind of prognosticator you are. We'll talk about a game coming up. And we'll do that after this on Southwestern Montana News and Extra Point.
Amsbury Glass, located at 8 East Glendale Street. Stop in today for all your 420 needs and more. Carrying a variety of vapes, bongs, CBD products, and so much more. Stop in today and check us out at 8 East Glendale Street in Dillon, Montana.
Back to Extra Point and head Bulldog football coach Ryan Nourse. We're talking 2024 recruiting class. We've gone over the offense. Let's look at the defense. And as I look down here, the first guy I see is someone from your hometown.
Yeah.
As I see. And so let's talk about the Libby Logger that's coming to the Dogs.
Yeah, Jace DeShazer. He's going for, as we speak, his third straight state championship in wrestling, and incredible athlete and competitor. And we're looking forward to seeing his development. He's, like I say, he's a great athlete currently in that, but this guy's been wrestling all summer, all winter, all spring. Really for his entire life. He's never got to do track or any of that, because he has been so dedicated to his second sport, and he is going to blow up, I think, just in terms of his speed and his quickness and his agility, and Chase is a run and hit guy. When he hits a guy, they go backwards, and that's one of the things we look for in a linebacker.
Okay. What about your other defensive recruits?
It felt like we had a really great year in the secondary this year. The guys we brought in, Jamal Guy Jr. out of Chief South in Seattle is a play ready kind of corner. He's got that ability. He's played against a lot of speed guys already, so he'll catch up to the speed change of the game really quickly there. And then Connor Dunley out of an 8-man school down by Klamath Falls, Lost River, Oregon. Just an incredible athlete. He's already got the size and physicality of a college football player, and excited what he's going to do. His dad's been the football coach there for 20 plus years. Connor brings a 4.0 GPA and just great intelligence in with us. So as far as DBs go, those two guys I think are really exceptional. I kind of talked about the tight ends earlier, but Braden Casaz and Jasper Robinson, one of those guys is going to end up as a defensive end for us, and they are going to be incredible at that spot. We're talking, these are 6'4", 215-pound guys who just love to play football and are super athletic and are really ready to go kind of guys. So we're really pleased with them. And Eli Finlayson from Elko, Nevada, is just another hit and run linebacker. Eli's, he plays linebacker, nose tackle, running back. He is just all over the field, and he is going for a state championship again this year in wrestling as well. So like our group, I feel really confident about what we can do with those guys, and and the positives that they bring to the table.
You got one special teams person coming in too, a punter kicker.
Yes, this year is really important to us to go out and get a specialist, and with John Mears being a senior, Eddie Dewart and Angel Navarrete, both juniors, those guys have been stalwarts on our special teams for years, and I said this at our event, Kobe might be our best recruit. He is legitimate. He can kick off. He can kick field goals. He can punt. He's 6'2". He's as strong as a lot of our guys already. I mean, this is a weight room guy. He's a multiple sport athlete, and he's got long levers, and so I really feel like we're getting a guy who we're going to see as a multiple-year all-conference guy, and he's a great student, and he loves to fish.
Well, this is the place for him then. This is the place for him, yeah.
It was a pretty natural fit for him.
Yeah. And then, you had mentioned a lot of these kids, offense and defensive players in high school and stuff like that. When did you and your staff kind of look at say, well, he's good here, but I think he might be better here? I mean, does that happen when they first come in camp, or is that something that you're already thinking about?
A lot of it happens when they first get into camp. We already have kind of an idea maybe sometimes, but when they get into camp and you see how they move, you see what their body type looks like now in terms of growth. And you can just kind of tell where a guy is going to fit. Sometimes it kind of comes down to, as well, I mean, if you've got 10 running backs, well, only 2 are probably going to play. So, where can this guy get on the field due to his athleticism, his physicals, his character, and those kind of things? We want to find guys roles everywhere that we can find guys roles at. So, that being said, it's really a combination of all 3 of those things, and sometimes you see it right away. Sometimes it's like Joe Caicedo. You got to play the guy at 3 positions before you find his spot, and then he's first team all conference 3 times. So it's just sometimes it's a work in progress, especially for our smaller school guys as well. Sometimes they were just great athletes, run and hit guys, are good with the ball in their hands and all these things, and you've got to work hard with them to find out where's this guy going to fit. We've got 5, 6 of those guys we're going to be doing that with in the spring. We've already kind of, like Canyon Sargent, we played him at running back. We played him at some linebacker. We're going to work him as some safety, and we're going to find Canyon a place on our football team. Because he's going to end up being a good player. We just don't know where it's going to be quite yet. And we have multiple guys like that. Tyler Shane's another 8-man guy like that. Ace Becker's a 6-man guy like that. So you just, these are great dudes. We're going to find them a place.
Okay, so this signing day class, that's not the end of your recruiting though, right? I mean, don't you have, it's almost like a part 1, part 2, depending on what's happening. This is the main focus, but
Yes.
then again, you're probably working on other kids that haven't fully committed now.
We have just a couple. Yeah,
Okay.
we have just a handful of guys that we're kind of finishing up on. Some of them are guys we started later on. Some of them who just weren't quite ready to make that decision, and they're usually guys from farther away out in the Seattle area and that. But we'll know more on those spots here in the next little bit, probably in the next week or so. And we've got a couple guys coming in next week, and we've got some transfers that we are working on as well. So, it's never really done. I'm always looking at very patient in this. I think maybe years and years ago was less patient. Just more aggressive in it, getting more guys and that where we're a little bit more patient in what we're going to do now. There's a lot of good players out there who just maybe haven't quite decided yet on exactly where they want to go and what they want to do. So in some respects, the Division I schools and FCS schools and that, and how fast that they're required to move now, helps us a little bit.
Okay, and then the fact that you are the defending conference champions, that's got to be a little bit of an edge. I mean, you don't want to say it's the whole thing, but
Yeah,
it's got to help a little bit, maybe?
It is a little bit at the start, but we're such a unique place here, being a rural Montana town, and it's good to get them interested, but it doesn't necessarily always bring them in.
Okay. Well, you look out the window on this Friday morning when we're recording this, and the word spring doesn't really enter into the conversation.
No, not yet.
So, but how far out are we from spring football?
Well, our first practice will be April 1st.
Okay.
Yep, it'll be April 1st. The spring scrimmage will be April 20th, and so we do ours now. Just basically 5 days a week, 3 straight weeks, and go. But it's due weather and field conditions. You don't you don't get to choose those things out here. So we found it works better for us to blast it all out, to get in everything that we can get with our team outside, and then work into the spring game.
Okay. Well, with you have a lot of people returning, so it's not like you're starting over again, which has happened in the past when you lose a lot of people through
Absolutely.
graduation. You got to start over again, but you've got basically your O-line is all back, your quarterback is back.
Every starter on offense is back,
Yes.
and all their backups but one.
And defense, you were pretty deep on defense.
Absolutely, yes.
So it's not like you're having to teach a new system. It's
No.
refining what you already have.
Yeah, a little bit. You go in and really spring ball is the precursor to get yourself ready for a championship run in August. It's to develop your younger players, less experienced players on the roster. It's to help your veteran players take another step in terms of their development and where they're at, and using that experience that they garnered the year before to develop a better, more confident, more able football player. It's to maybe refine, readjust, potentially sometimes, bring in some new schematics that are going to fit our style of play and the athletes that we have, and then get it out there, get it on tape, get the work done with the boys, and get them ready for the summer.
Okay. Well, Bulldog football recruiting class part 1, we'll call it part 1, is done. But we're going to stay in the subject of football as we close this extra point out. I'm going to see how good of a guesser you are, maybe, or
I'd call me more of a prognosticator, Wally.
you like that word better?
Yeah,
Okay.
much better.
Okay. So there's a game Sunday, Super Bowl.
Yes.
Kansas City Chiefs, San Francisco 49ers, and without going into who our favorite teams are,
Sure.
who do you pick for? And this will air Monday or Tuesday, so it'll air after the Super Bowl is over with. So we'll see.
It's pretty tough to go against Andy Reid, and Patrick Mahomes. So I would say my head says the Chiefs. My heart would say I'd like to see them lose. With the 49ers, but in all reality, if they could both lose, that would be the actual perfect scenario. But I'm going with, as a football coach, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
Best quarterback normally wins the Super Bowl.
Okay. Ryan, thanks for coming in and visiting. Thanks for braving winter weather in
My
Dillon
pleasure.
to come down to our studio. We appreciate it. We'll catch up with you again. Maybe we'll grab you during the middle of spring break, and you can talk a little bit about. Hopefully, you don't have to drive down in the snow, but definitely when August rolls around and hopefully you'll be kicking off that 2024 season in a brand new stadium, and it looks good. But thanks, Ryan, for coming in and joining us on Extra Point.
My pleasure.
Extra Point today brought to you by 82 Coffee Company, Susan McRae Accounting, and Amesbury Glass. We'll see you next time on Extra Point on Southwestern Montana News.